Do you ever try lining up those slippery little business cards by hand on a slick metal laser base plate? It's like trying to line up ice cubes on a hot griddle. You gotta use a jig. Make one or get one, but dude, you gotta get jiggy with it. If you're engraving more than 2 or 3 of something, you need a jig, period. You can buy one or you can make one. Today, we're gonna make one. I've got an event coming up this weekend and I'm low on business cards. Normally, if I need to crank out a bunch, I'd use my jig. Where is it? Here it is, that fits perfectly on the xTool F1 Ultra, but it doesn't fit so much on the F2. It's too big. If I tried using this on the F2, I wouldn't be able to close the lid, and that's a no bueno for running this laser around people. I could just fire up the F1 Ultra and knock out a bunch of cards in a few minutes. Right now, this jig is for 3 cards at a time, so it wouldn't take but, I don't know, a few minutes to do a whole bunch of them. But here's the main reason I need a jig for this upcoming event. I want the xTool F2 running constantly in the background, making something when I'm not working on orders. And business cards, they'll be perfect for that. Hey, Disco Biscuits, Roy here. Today we're gonna make a jig for business cards on the xTool F2 for the xTool F2. Why? Because eyeballing placement is a great way to ruin perfectly good blanks. And those shaky hands make you second guess that 5th cup of coffee you had earlier. No? Just me? Every once in a while when I've got the F2 running and I'm working on a project and maybe I'm a little bit low on business cards, but not low enough to really start up the F1 Ultra and make a project out of business cards, I might toss a couple of blanks in the F2 and just line them up by hand, which works-ish. It can also be frustrating if I'm in a hurry. Because I want the F2 running pretty much the whole time at this upcoming event that I'm doing, I need a jig. And since I forgot to order a jig ahead of time, guess what we're doing today? Now, quick side note, I do recommend buying jigs when you can. They're precise, durable, and honestly, they're pretty darn inexpensive. I always recommend Alive Pixel Creates because they're made to perfectly fit whatever it is you are making. I'll leave a link to Alive Pixel Creates in the description. Definitely check them out. I'll also have a coupon code for a discount in the description, so definitely check that out. But sometimes you need a jig really quickly, or you have something with a very unique shape that you can't find a jig for. In that case, you can make your own. And it's quite simple. As Bill-H3J said in a comment on one of my previous videos, it can definitely be satisfying to make your own jig. And I also think it's a bit rewarding. I do still think there's a lot to be said about getting a 3D printed jig from someone like Alive Pixel Creates. Their jigs are very durable, inexpensive, and come with a perfect fit. The first thing I have to do is cut a piece of wood that will fit perfectly in that base plate hole. Basically, I'm making a base plate like this, but in wood. I use 2.7 millimeter wood that I get from Home Depot. They have 4x8 sheets for $18.98. I get them to cut the 4x8 sheets down to a manageable 1 foot by 4 foot sheets like this. Then I bring them home and then I trim them down into 6-inch by 6-inch pieces with my table or miter saw. When it's all said and done, a piece of wood this size is going to cost me about 15 cents per 6-inch square, and you get 128 squares. So that's not really breaking the bank, right? Good deal. Let's jump on over to xTool Studio and create us a file. Create us a cut file. What do you think? Let's start by making a new project, and then let's go here and create a square. As you drag the rectangle out, hold down the Shift key to keep it a square. Now that I've drawn it out, I have 2 things to do. Well, actually 3 things to do. The first thing I always do is move it to the black layer. I don't have to, it's just habit. That, and I can see it just a little teeny bit easier. Now, the 2 things I need to do, first, let's make it the correct size. Since I know the actual base plate is 4.291 by 4.291. Let's start there and type those measurements into here. Since this square is an actual square, I only need to input this number into the width box. If I forgot to hold down the Shift key when dragging out the square and it's not an actual square, I just unlock the aspect ratio and type 4.291 into the height box. The second thing we'll have to do is round the corners. Without doing this, this will never fit. Square peg, round hole kind of thing. Go here and type in the corner you want. I'm going to start with 0.32. Now let's center it real quick. Now's a good time for a tip to keep from wasting any wood. Grab you some scrap wood or just an extra piece, because we already determined this stuff is pretty darn cheap. Temporarily shorten this square into a rectangle by making sure the aspect ratio is deselected and drag one side down a bit like this. We only need one correct side to do this test, and even though the wood is cheap, why waste it if we don't have to? Let's go over here and change the processing type from score to cut and input the correct power, speed, and number of passes. How do you know how to get the correct power, speed, and passes? With a material test array. There's lots of things you can do with this wood, so figure out what the settings are to cut this now, then you won't have to worry about it down the road. You can certainly use mine. I'm sure it'll probably work. You may need to tweak it just a little bit. Different wood will probably require different settings. For this wood and for my machine, the correct settings to cut are a power of 90, a speed of 14 with 3 passes. Now let's cut this test piece out. You could just skip this and cut the full square out, but you'd be a lot luckier than me or better at math, which I'm pretty sure you already are. Now that our test piece is cut, let's see if it fits. We're testing two things, the length and the corners. Remember, this thing's going to be a square, so if it fits lengthwise, it's going to fit height-wise. So it's a touch too long, and the corners are a bit curvier than we need them to be, although that doesn't really matter as long as they are too curvy and not curvy enough, if that makes any sense at all. If they weren't curvy enough, they wouldn't fit into that base plate. Let's try again. This time I'm trying 4.20 inches for the length, and even though I don't have to try to make it look a little bit pretty, I'll reduce the curve to 2.82. And remember, I don't have to worry about the height right now because we're not measuring that. This one is a little bit small, and since I want this to sit perfectly in that insert area and not wiggle, let's plan on adding just a little bit to the length. The corners are still a little bit curvier than they need to be, but since they're curvier, that doesn't really matter. For this next test though, since I want it to look really nice, I'll take away just a little bit of that curve and see if we can get it closer to perfect. Now let's try a length of 4.25 and a curve of 2.23. Sometimes it takes up to 3 or 4 tries to get the size just right, but for me it's worth it because once you get the size right and it fits snugly, you can use this jig to make just about anything. So this looks just about perfect. It's a tad bit snug, but it still fits, and having it snug like this will keep it from wiggling. Wiggling is not your friend when it comes to jigs. Now that I've got what I believe to be the perfect dimensions, I'm going to change the height back to 4.25 to match our new size. I'm also going to go lock in the aspect ratio and center it. And then we can cut out a couple of jig inserts. While I've got everything set up, I'll make 3 or 4 so I have them to use for different jigs if I happen to need something real quick. So this looks really good. It fits perfectly inside the F2 base plate hole. Now all I need to do is cut out the insert area to make this an actual jig. Of course, for today, we are making business cards. The first thing that I need to do is measure my business card blank. Once I have the measurement, I'm going to go into xTool Studio and create a rectangle by going here and selecting square. Draw out a rectangle circle to the size of your business card, and then let's quickly move it to a new layer. I'll use green. Now go up here, unlock the aspect ratio, and type in your width here and your height here. Let's start with 3.4 for my width and 2.15 for my height. Let's center it real quick. For this insert into the jig, I'm not going to make the edges rounded because if I'm not too careful, I could make it too rounded and the business card won't fit inside the hole. Now let's head back over to the laser. Instead of potentially ruining one of these new jig blanks, I'm going to just use the test piece to cut out the business card insert. Again, there's a chance I might need to do 3 or 4 of these to get it right, but the goal is to have a no wiggle room jig. If it wiggles, it's not a jig, it's an annoying children's musical group. Here's my first attempt, and the hole is a little too wide and too tall. So let's try again with slightly smaller measurements. I'm still a big fan of Alive Pixel Creates, but when you're in a bind, these will work great. I ended up cutting 4 holes out on scrap wood before I got the perfect measurement. At least I think it's the perfect measurement. It ended up being 3.35 inches wide by 2.098 inches tall. Now I want to add a little finger notch to the business card insert so I can remove the cards easily. Let's head back to xTool Studio and take care of that. This is actually pretty simple. Let's make sure we've selected the layer that the business card insert is in. Then let's make a small circle at the top of the rectangle like this. Remember to hold down the Shift key to get a perfect circle. Now center it over the top line of our business card insert like this. Select both layers by selecting one, hold down the Shift key, and select the other. Or you can hide the black layer, make sure the green layer is selected, and just select them both by sliding the cursor over both of them. Once they're both selected, go to Combine and then select Union, and boom, it is done. Because I messed with the insert, I'll just need to change it back to cut and then add the power, speed, and passes back to the settings. Also, unhide that black layer if you hit it. I'm pretty confident this is it, so I'll just use one of my already cut jig templates. Now let's see if we have the final jig correct by cutting this insert out. You certainly don't have to add the half circle on the top, but I highly recommend it so those cards will be easy to get out. Actually, you probably do need to do it. I'm not sure you could even get those out without that little notch. So here's what happened. I cut this out with what I thought to be the perfect size. When I went to place the business card in the insert, it wouldn't fit. The insert was just a little bit too small. So I added 0.002 to both the height and the width of this final insert, and it was still just a smidgen too small. So I added another 0.002 to the width and height, still not enough. I had to increase the size by 0.001 or 0.002, an embarrassingly number of times. Turns out 0.001 is not a whole lot. With the added circle, the final size ended up being 3.36 wide by 2.51 wide. Funny thing is, this whole video started because I needed a quick jig, quick being the key word here. So this thing is almost finished, but let me explain why it's not quite done yet. If you just set this into the space where the base plate goes, there's about 1/4 of an inch drop to the table below the base plate. So if you set this down and then set a card in, the card's going to fall right through. To eliminate that, we're going to add a second jig plate to the bottom of this jig. So what I'll do is I will add one just like this. At first I was going to use wood glue and clamp these things down, but I had to make sure that the glue went right up to this inside edge so the card wouldn't slide through, and I also would need to make sure that there was no extra glue in this space to keep the card from sitting flush against the bottom of this. But then I realized I have something much better than glue. Are you ready for this? I have dual tight adhesive, and this is a perfect project to use this dual tight on. If you have never had dual tight, you need to get it. You can pick it up from Creative Cut Supplies, and I'm going to tell you right now, your life will change during the holidays if you do Christmas ornaments and use this instead of glue. I will leave a link in the description. This stuff is amazing. It's basically a very cool double-sided tape, and what you want to do is peel this off. You will put it on one side and then cut your design out, and you've got this ready to go. You peel this off like this, and you got glue, sticky glue right there. Sliced bread, dual tight. I'm telling you, it's pretty darn cool. So, where is it? Here we have it. The finished, the finished product right here. A pretty effective jig for the xTool F2 and business cards. And I have some extras around here somewhere that I can make more jigs if I want. And let me show you what I did. I cut some of these extras out with the dual tight on the back, so I can take one with no dual tight, take the one with the dual tight, cut my insert out, and then I am ready to attach it to a bottom plate so it will fit perfectly in the F2. And this wood can be used for a whole bunch of different things. I have a bunch of packaging that I have used this wood for. It takes something that doesn't have packaging and gives you a pretty decent packaging with the wood. And it's certainly more than the $19 for a 4x8 sheet. I use it a little bit for ornaments when I'm using a bottom layer, but that's pretty much it. I like the better quality wood for a top layer. So Today we made a jig from scratch. We fixed a real problem and we saved ourselves from a lot of headache, at least a lot of headache on my end, from trying to line things up by hand, and I can use it for that event to constantly have the machine running. So yeah, buy a jig when you can, but now you know what to do when you can't. And these come out pretty darn good. If you're into lasers, creating custom products, building your small business, or even building a YouTube studio, don't forget, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you will know when new videos are being released. Thanks so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. I'm gonna get it 2 more times. And honestly, pretty in it. I might toss a couple of cards into the blanks, into the big, let it go, let it go. Pretty darn inexpensive. You gotta use a, it's like trying to line up. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going. Where are you going, Roy? Oh, bird. Nope, we're inside. Okay, I'm pretty confident this is it, so I'll just use one of my already cut jig templates.